This is a Nuchannel Sports Takedown. Back at it again with your host, Chris. You know what it is. This is a solo. Man, I'm feeling good. Feeling real good. It's been a while, y'all. But I'm so glad to be back doing the Nuchannel Sports Takedown. And what other takedown would I have to do based on what's been going on? I would say in the NBA, but it's bigger than basketball at this point, and it's Kwame Brown. And here's my takedown. It's real simple. This is a simple takedown. Kwame Brown is right. Kwame Brown is right. And you may be thinking to yourself, Doug, Chris, where have you been all these weeks? We know he's right, but perhaps you haven't heard it from this perspective. And let's get to it. Let's get straight into it. But before I get into the takedown, let me tell you what we're doing. You know this is Nuchannel Sports. You can always hit us up on our website, nuchannelsports.net. Again, that's nuchannelsports.net. That's where we release our podcast. You can check out my articles. And if you haven't heard, I'm writing for the lead now, doing big things. I should have my first article coming out there soon, representing the hometown Houston Rockets. Not a lot great going on there, but still check out the articles, man. I have some good stuff for you. Of course, if you want to listen to our podcast, you can check us out on Podbean, Stitcher, wherever you listen to your podcast. And if you listen to us on Podbean and subscribe there, whoop, we have some special things on the Podbean. You can call in to the Podbean and be a guest on there. We're working that out, but it's coming out soon. Let's get straight to the takedown. I've already told you that Kwame Brown is right. But before I even tell you that Kwame Brown is right and get into why he's right and what that means, I gotta first give myself a second to talk about how I'm a hypocrite. I am a hypocrite, just like most of you are. For most of you that are cheering on Kwame Brown right now, most of you are cheering him on. Go Kwame, go Kwame, go Kwame. And a lot of y'all, just like me, are hypocrites. How are we hypocrites? Because when Stephen A. Smith was on ESPN saying his name all incorrectly, Kwame Brown, you were with me and you were laughing. You were laughing because you thought it was funny. I thought it was funny. In fact, that's why I tuned in. I wanted to hear it. Stephen A. and his wild takes making fun of a 17-year-old boy who's now become a man. That's a grown man, bro. That is a man. He's a man. And that's not gonna fly no more. But I first gotta acknowledge that I was a hypocrite. And so were you, probably, most likely. You're a hypocrite because you were laughing at him too. He's trash. He's a scrub. He's a bum. He's a bust. These are all things we heard about Kwame Brown. And I heard it so much, it became acceptable. You just thought about him just being a bust, a bum. Who's the worst first-round pick, the first pick in the NBA draft? You think of Kwame Brown. You think of his name. You see his face. And it becomes a rolling joke until it's no longer a joke. But I was a hypocrite. So before I give him his accolades and I praise him, I got to stand in line, raise my hands and say, yo, I laughed. I'm part of the problem. And until we get people who raise their hands in acknowledgement that they're part of the problem, there will continually be a problem. So you can't be in line cheering on Kwame Brown right now saying, Kwame, you're the best. You got this, without recognizing first that at least you can say, for most of us, that I'm a hypocrite. Because yes, I'm cheering him on. And yes, I'm getting on Stephen A. Smith. And we're going to get to that. But at the same time, I'm one of those people that praise Stephen A. Smith saying, this brother can talk. He's funny. He's on Sports Center. We love it. Give us more. And it's not just Kwame Brown that I was laughing at. Y'all remember Nastarovich? The way Stephen A. Smith would say his name, that was hilarious to me. Not hilarious, hilarious. Boy, I'd be rolling on the floor laughing. But it's not funny anymore. So before I get into why Kwame Brown is right, I got to stand in front of the church, in front of the congregation and say, I'm a hypocrite. And if you're not a liar, you're probably doing the same thing. We're all hypocrites here because we laughed at him being a bust. He's a bust. He sucks. He's trash. We all laughed, but it's not funny anymore. And it's not funny because he spoke up for himself. And when he spoke up, everybody was like, oh, snap. I know I was like that. I was like, oh, snap. I did not expect this. I didn't know you had that in you. I can't believe it. I'm so surprised. I can't believe it. But then you got to think to yourself and think about it. It's like, did I ever hear him speak? No, I never really did. I heard other people talk about him, but I never heard him speak. So why am I so surprised? Why are you so surprised? We didn't know him. We really still don't know him. We have access to his life because he's given us some form of access, but we don't know this man. So why are we so surprised that he's well-spoken, funny, and has great things to say? It's because we were indoctrinated with people who were making fun of him over and over again, and it became the norm. Y'all remember that one girl in school? Yeah, I'm going to take it there. We're going to be real. We're going to be adults here. Y'all remember that girl in school? They'll say things about her. Oh, she'll do something to you, you know what I mean? She real easy, y'all. She easy, y'all. You don't know this chick. But when you talk to her, you automatically have this thought process of what she is. And more often than not, she wasn't who everybody said she was. You talk to her and be like, you're not like what they said at all. Like at all. And that's what happens a lot in life. We just pass things on. It's like a game of, I would even call it telephone, because telephone's not even accurate. It's a game of, hey, I heard blank, 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 and I have the loudest microphone. So if I say it long enough and loud enough, people will believe it. And that's very dangerous. It's very dangerous. All right. So why is Kwame Brown right? Well, unless you've been living under a rock, I'll give you a little bit of the background. There was Matt Barnes, who he has the funniest nickname now. They call him what? Becky with the good hair. But Matt Barnes, I'm not gonna disrespect that man. I don't know him like that. So you got Matt Barnes. You have Steven Jackson, and they're on their Showtime podcast, All the Smoke. And honestly, if you watch the clip, that's the controversy in all of this. Matt Barnes didn't have much to say, but it wasn't good. It was just a little bit. But they were making fun of Kwame Brown. And then Kwame Brown, you could say snapped, you can say had enough of it, but he finally said, enough is enough. Y'all done talked about me enough, so here I am. And the reason why I say that he's right, because I'm sure you've watched his videos or his clips where he's talking about mama's cooking, or his laugh, his signature laugh, which is hilarious. But just watching him talk about that word bust and what it means and how people have associated him with that. And he calls his channel Kwame Brown Bust Life. My life is nothing, right? I'm a bust, right? Well, that's not true. See, I love sports. And which is why we have the Nuchannel Sports Podcast. All of us love sports. I love sports. Lo loves sports. Oh, Indy loves sports. Trey loves sports. We love sports, and we can talk about it all day. None of us played at the highest level, which y'all should know by now. We talk about all the time. We didn't play at the highest level. So there's certain criticisms that we have to get rid of in our vocabulary. And I've got to start. Words like bust, trash, garbage should never be in my vocabulary. I really don't know if I've said that in previous podcasts. I know I haven't said it in takedowns, but you'll never hear me say it if I have. You'll never hear it again. You'll never hear me use that language again. Bust, trash, garbage. Because for the most part, I am talking about other African American men who've made it to a place that I can only dream of making it to athletically. Because I played sports and I tried to play. My knees were like, ain't happening. Of course, that's my excuse. Anybody that's watching me play, like, your knees, your shot, your dribbling, your game, you trash. But, you know, in my own brain, I couldn't make it because my knees just was not prepared for that. But we talk about these athletes, and I'll group myself as in we because I'm part of the media. We're trying to grow our platform. I'll group myself in that. We're part of the media. We're trying to grow our platform. And I can't use those words. Bust, trash, garbage. To associate with another human being? Excuse me. Excuse me. Excuse yourself. We can't do that anymore. We can't. I'll be honest with you. I've been watching the Dallas Mavericks versus the LA Clippers series that ended with the Clippers defeating the Dallas Mavericks. And I recall watching the series, and there was a moment where I caught myself. I wanted to say, man, Kristaps Porzingis is trash. Like, I was upset. Like, bro, play better. There's a proper way to criticize him. We'll get to that soon. There is a way to criticize a player without going to that level, calling someone trash, particularly for people who watch the game. Because most of us who watch the game, who have these podcasts, who have these platforms, as kids, we wanted to be these people. We wanted to be a Kristaps Porzingis. We wanted to be a Luka Doncic, a Kwame Brown. We wanted to be these people. And a lot of us, quite frankly, just didn't have that. We didn't have that. So how dare I call one of them trash or garbage? So I'm checking myself a little bit in this takedown. I didn't think I was going to check myself this much. I didn't know I was going to do this much. It wasn't my intention. But I mean, we've got to come to a realization that we can't keep doing this. Because a lot of the people who have these podcasts, who have these platforms, a Matt Barnes, or really not, maybe not Matt Barnes, I don't think he's African American, but I know for sure that Stephen Jackson is, Stephen A. Smith is. We're criticizing our own brothers, calling them trash when they've made it to a place in their lives where they're able to take care of their families and in many instances take care of the communities. How can I call such an individual trash or a bust? How crazy is that? What are you doing? Like my boy Mystical said, what are you doing? Seriously, what are you doing in your community to come out with such a gross take on a human being? Now, I'm not saying I can't criticize them. You can criticize. But there are certain languages and words that we shouldn't be using, particularly if you ain't never played at that level. So it leads me to the point of the ultimate point of my takedown is this. We already know about Kwame Brown and Stephen A. Smith and Charlemagne the God and all of those people. I'm sure you've heard about that. But it leads me to the question to ask, should we talk about sports differently? I just told you I'm not using the words bust and garbage and trash associating with a player anymore. But should we talk about sports differently? And I believe the answer is yes. We have a responsibility because I already said this a couple of times. I'm African American. I'm talking about other African American men who are, for the most part, a lot of them now. I'm almost in my 30s. A lot of them are younger than me. The ones that are coming up, right? I can't be calling these young men trash on a podcast platform. I can't do that. How can I call that man trash? I can criticize your game, but it means I got to change the rhetoric, my rhetoric. I got to change my language. So should we talk about sports differently? Yes, we have to, man. We have to. We got to be better than this. There's a thin line between critique, criticism, and just straight out being flagrant. There's a thin line. So, and that's where a lot of people get uncomfortable, particularly people like me, man. I have this podcast. We have this platform. We're trying to grow. We're trying to reach the masses. But there's a fine line between critique and criticism and just straight up being flagrant. Where do you cross the line? Going back to my Kristaps Porzingis example, I wanted to call him trash so bad. Like it was in me like, man, Kristaps, play better, bro. But there's a way to do that. I can say Kristaps needs to play better or they're going to trade you. You need to play better because you're letting your team down. And you can dissect that. You can go into it without calling him trash, bust, garbage. Because these are human beings. These are real human beings who have families. And that's the part I think that as fans and as commentators and as media members that we just disassociate with that. We disassociate with it. This is not me trying to get on a soapbox, but if it is what it is. I guess I'm already on the soapbox. I can't say I'm not trying to get on there when I already climbed my black behind on there and been screaming for the past, 15 minutes now or close to it. But it is what it is. There is a line that we can no longer cross. And I put it like this. I will no longer cross it. And Nuchannel Sports will no longer cross it. Well, I can only speak for myself, right? Speak for yourself. But I can't cross it no more, man. I can't do it. After watching Kwame Brown's videos and watching him speak, this is a man that in my brain, if you said his name with word association, right? And this picture came up, and you showed me plenty of pictures, and his came up eventually, I would be like, oh, bust, trash, let down. And then you gotta think to yourself, is that actually true? Take away all those words and those adjectives, and this man played 13 years in the hardest league in the world, came out straight from high school. Would he have wanted a better career? I'm sure. He'll tell you that. But there's a way to talk about that in a constructive way versus a way where you're saying, Kwame Brown. I will tell you, man, I've grown up watching Stephen A. Smith, and I respect his journalism. I respect his speaking. I mean, there are times when you're on TV and you're just trying to make a point and you're going to be loud. But I was probably the most disappointed in him when I saw his rebuttal to Kwame Brown. Essentially resting back on what he initially said, not even apologizing, not even recognizing and acknowledging that I was flagrant. This wasn't critique or criticism. This was flagrant. And went back and showed more clips that he thought would disparage this man some more. We got to be better than this, man. We got to be better than this. Not even just from the black on black perspective. We just got to be better than this as a society. This can't be what we do, right? As media people, as talking heads, you mean to tell me I can't properly state that a player had a bad game or is not playing well by not using words trash, garbage, bust? I can't do that? Yes, I can. I'm educated enough to do that. Nuchannel Sports is educated enough to do that. And we will. So the bottom line with this takedown is Kwame Brown is right. This rhetoric that we have needs to go away. There's a player that I think of, other than Kwame Brown, that is often associated in the same way, or he's not good enough, or they have these issues. And you may think, huh? And it's LeBron James. It's LeBron James. Yes, I love LeBron James. I believe he's the best player of all time. If you believe Kobe's better, fine. If you believe MJ's better, fine. But there's a problem when we have these discussions where we say, well, MJ's so much better and LeBron's trash, right? You may say, oh, nobody says LeBron is trash, but it's just the rhetoric that we used. Prior to Kobe passing, people would talk about Kobe in a way, as far as his hooping, that was just insane when comparing him to LeBron or to MJ. We can compare the players. We can say who's better without trashing them. And that is the point. We can do it without trashing them. All right, let me get off my soapbox, man. Y'all don't want to hear this no more. Let me go ahead and get off my soapbox. And I just want to throw a salute to Kwame Brown. That's how I want to end this takedown. I got to throw a salute to that man. Because there are times with the world when it just seems like the whole world is on top of you. You have the loudest mouth in sports and Stephen A. making fun of you constantly for over 20 years, right? And it's been infiltrated into our communities. You don't want to be Kwame Brown. Really? You don't want to be Kwame Brown? Most of us are not going to the NBA. Going to a gym, and most people in the gym are not going to the NBA. Talk less being a number one pick. You got to show some love to that man. For everything they have said, we have said, because I'm part of it, I'm a hypocrite, about this man, for him to be able to collect himself, go on a platform and speak his truth, and to have me listen to it and hopefully you as well, and be like, man, I got to do better. Salute to you, bro. Big ups to you. So what's my takedown? My takedown is real simple. Kwame Brown is right. If for nothing else you hear from this man, understand that we got to be better as media heads, as fans, as talking heads, all of it. We've got to be better. We got to start treating these players and people with respect. Look at the fans run into the crowd. Well, the fans are not running to the crowd. Look at the fans running on the floor. We had a guy run on the floor. I believe it was in the Knicks game. I could be wrong. Maybe it was in the Knicks. Maybe it was the 76ers. Either way. You had a fan running to the court, fans spitting, fans throwing things. It's just that same rhetoric. Right? Stephen A. Smith is saying he's trash and garbage. Anyways, a bust. I'm going to throw some at him. Westbrook, all he does is get triple doubles. It's kind of easy. All he does is hunt for the rebounds. Let me throw something at him. Got to be careful with our rhetoric, man, because the fans are really doing what us talking heads and what us media heads have been provoking them to do. So we got to be better. Thank you so much for listening to this takedown. I appreciate it so much. Thank you for taking your time to listen to this takedown. We have so much in store in Nuchannel Sports. You know that we do. We have articles. We have podcasts. We have our show on Afro Vibes TV. You can check that out on demand. We have a new episode every single week. We have guests coming on there as well. We're just trying to do special things, and you know why we do it. You know why we do it. We do it for you. We do it for you, and only you. Thank you so much for listening. Check out our website, nuchannelsports.net. Remember what I said about Podbeam? Subscribe. And on this video, hit that like button. Subscribe to the YouTube page. Subscribe on here as well, man. We have new content coming out pretty much daily now. We're going to always come out with some new content and new things. Check out our multiple platforms. We're on Instagram as well. We're on Twitter. Always trying to do this and do big things. Thank you so much for listening. As always, you know how I ended, y'all. Stay safe, y'all. Please stay safe. Peace.